At the age of 12, my life underwent a profound transformation when my family moved from Kenya to Canada. This change introduced me to a vibrant world brimming with new opportunities, rich cultures, and friendly faces. Thanks to my father's success in business, we enjoyed a comfortable lifestyle that helped ease our transition into this unfamiliar environment. It was during high school that I met Russell, who would eventually become my husband. Our relationship weathered its share of challenges, but by the time I turned 22, we felt ready to commit and tie the knot. I was filled with joy, dreaming of a future filled with love and happiness. However, one major hurdle loomed before us: Russell's mother, Doris. She was openly opposed to our marriage, and I couldn't shake the feeling that her objections stemmed, at least in part, from my Kenyan heritage. Doris often made subtle, uncomfortable comments that left me feeling unwelcome. In contrast to his mother's attitude, Russell remained steadfast in his love for me. He valued our relationship for what it was, not for where I came from. Even in the face of his mother's disapproval, he stood by me, reaffirming his commitment to our union. On our wedding day, the joy of marrying Russell was overshadowed by the weight of Doris's discontent. Nevertheless, I chose to focus on the love we shared, pushing aside the negativity. After the wedding, Doris's disdain became increasingly evident. Her disparaging remarks about my culture and heritage were hurtful, and though I longed for a harmonious relationship with her, it felt increasingly out of reach. Russell tried to bridge the divide, caught between his love for both his mother and me. He promised to address the issues with Doris, but the tension lingered. Her constant jabs and intrusive questions about my background wore on my mental and emotional well-being. Despite these challenges, Russell and I were dedicated to building a life together. We settled into our new home, focusing on our careers and future plans. However, Doris's persistent disapproval continued to cast a shadow over our happiness, and eventually, her comments became intolerable. I reached a breaking point. While I had always tried to remain calm and kind, Doris's relentless negativity finally pushed me too far. In a moment of frustration, I raised my voice, a reaction I had never considered before. It was time to make it clear that I was exhausted by her constant barbs and her unwelcoming attitude. Doris, I've truly had enough of your incessant comments. They're wearing me down. Oh, I'm just expressing my opinions. There's no need for you to be so defensive. Expressing opinions? It feels more like you're targeting me because of my background. I deserve respect, just like anyone else. I don't mean to offend, but you seem overly sensitive about everything. This isn't about sensitivity, it's about respect. I am your daughter-in-law, and I deserve to be treated with kindness and understanding. Perhaps if you tried to fit in a bit more, I wouldn't need to make these remarks. Fit in? I've been part of this community for years. This is my home, too, and I shouldn't have to change who I am to satisfy you. Just so you know, I never sought your permission to marry your son, nor did I wish for it. I'm aware you had different plans for him. That's unfair. We love each other, and that should matter to you. If only you were from a more traditional background, perhaps I'd be more accepting. I don't need your acceptance. I'm proud of my heritage, and I won't let you belittle me for it. Your prejudice is your issue to resolve. Maybe things would be simpler if you had married someone from your own culture. That's not the point. We are married, and you need to accept that. Your ongoing disapproval is hurting us, and I won't let you tarnish our happiness. I never expected you to speak to me like this. Why are you being so aggressive? Perhaps you never anticipated that I would stand up for myself. I'm done trying to please you. If that's how you feel, maybe it's best if we keep our distance. That suits me fine. I deserve to be around people who respect and appreciate me for who I am. You're being unreasonable. No, I'm simply tired of being mistreated. I am part of your family now, whether you like it or not, and it's time for you to treat me accordingly. If you can't manage that, then maybe some distance is for the best. Suit yourself, she replied coldly. I will, thank you. I hope you take some time to reflect on how your actions are affecting your relationship with your son, I said firmly. I decided it was time to leave. Maybe when you're ready to treat me with the respect I deserve, we can have another conversation. Until then, take care. With that, I walked away, feeling a tumultuous mix of anger and sadness. Confronting Doris had been difficult, but standing up for myself was essential. I realized that my relationship with her might be forever altered, but I felt confident in my choice. I deserved respect, and I wouldn't tolerate any more subtle jabs or hurtful comments. My priority had to be my marriage and building a joyful life with Russell, regardless of Doris's disapproval. When I recounted the details of our confrontation with Doris to Russell, I was taken aback by his unwavering support. He boldly told his mother that she needed to treat me with respect. However, the situation escalated dramatically when Doris threatened to disown him as well. This shocking ultimatum deeply pained both of us, especially Russell. It was heartbreaking to witness his mother's willingness to sever ties with her son simply for defending his wife. Yet, amidst this turmoil, we found clarity. We didn't need toxic people in our lives, even if they were family. We deserved love and respect. And if someone couldn't provide that, they didn't deserve a place in our lives. Watching Doris act this way was painful, but it was a turning point for Russell. He began to realize that his mother's negativity and disapproval were barriers to his true happiness. It was time for him to move beyond the toxicity and build a life with me founded on love and mutual understanding. Months passed since Doris cut ties with us, and although Russell was deeply affected by his mother's decision, he still missed her despite everything she had said and done. In an effort to support him in finding closure and perhaps opening the door to reconciliation, I planned a dinner date at his favorite restaurant, hoping it would provide him comfort and possibly signal a new beginning. When we arrived and I gave my name, the maitre d' looked puzzled and informed me that I was on the blacklist. This revelation took me by surprise. Russell and I had always been regular patrons there. Confused and determined to clear up the misunderstanding, I asked to speak with the manager. To our astonishment, the manager emerged, revealing herself to be none other than Doris. In the months we hadn't seen her, she had been busy expanding her portfolio, now managing this very restaurant, Applebee's, our favorite spot. It felt too calculated to be mere coincidence. Seeing her there, I was hit with a wave of shock and disbelief at her pettiness. Well, what do we have here? I never thought I'd see the day when you two would show up at my restaurant, Doris said, making it clear that we were not welcome. Russell, unable to contain his frustration, began to raise his voice, drawing the attention of the other diners and creating a scene in the restaurant. I found myself caught in a tug-of-war between supporting Russell and trying to defuse the escalating situation. Doris, we didn't come here to cause trouble, we just wanted to enjoy a peaceful dinner, I said, attempting to reason with her. A peaceful dinner with the likes of you? I don't think so. It's quite amusing to see you both here, practically begging to be let in after everything that's happened, she shot back smugly. What are you talking about, Mom? We've always loved this place, and now you're saying we're not welcome? Russell exclaimed, incredulous. It's simple. When you chose to marry this person against my wishes, I had to make a decision. I couldn't allow my son to make such a dreadful mistake, so I decided to protect my business from your poor choices, Doris explained coldly. You're sick, Mom. It's disgusting that you're doing this on purpose just to spite us, Russell accused, his voice thick with dismay. Oh, please, Russell, I'm just looking out for my reputation. I can't have people like you associated with my business, Doris dismissed him. This is ridiculous, Mom, you're choosing your bigotry over your son. I thought you were better than this, Russell lamented, hurt clear in his voice. You're the one who chose this path, Russell, don't blame me for your decisions, Doris retorted sharply. As she spoke, the eyes of every diner in the restaurant were fixed on us, casting an uncomfortable spotlight. It was deeply embarrassing to be escorted out of Applebee's, a place we once frequented with ease. Let's just leave, arguing won't change her mind, I suggested quietly, eager to escape the mounting tension. You're right, Janice, it's not worth it, Russell replied, disappointment etched across his face. And don't come back, no one wants you here, Doris shouted after us, her voice dripping with disdain. We stepped outside and began wandering aimlessly down the street. Russell was visibly upset, so I encouraged him to express his feelings, especially regarding his connection to Applebee's. Let it all out, Russell, how are you really feeling? I know Applebee's was more than just a restaurant for you. Applebee's? It was a place where my dad and I bonded. We'd sit by the window, order our favorite meals, and just talk for hours about everything. It's where we connected, he explained, his voice heavy with loss. It sounds like such a meaningful place for you, and I can't believe Doris would use it to hurt you like this, especially knowing how much those moments with your dad meant. It's just so unfair. She knows how special Applebee's is to me, yet she chose to weaponize it against us simply because she disapproves of our marriage. You deserve so much better than this, Russell. I wish I could fix it. It's awful to see someone trying to dismantle what we have. I always thought family was meant to support each other, not tear each other apart. It's hard to understand why she behaves this way, but sometimes people let their biases cloud their judgment. We may not be able to change that, but we can choose how we respond, I reassured him. You're right, I'm done letting her negativity affect us. What matters is that we have each other. Exactly, we'll face this together, and actually, I have some news that might brighten your day. What's that? He asked, curiosity peaking despite the somber mood. Well, it turns out my dad recently acquired the entire block of buildings on this street, including Applebee's. Really? Why didn't you mention this before? It just happened. He finalized the deal with the investors recently. I was still grappling with how everything would unfold. I had planned to share the news about my dad owning the complex during a celebratory dinner at the restaurant. That's incredible, Janice. I need to congratulate him later, Russell said, genuinely impressed. We can do that later, but right now, there's something else we need to discuss about your mom, I replied, hinting at a more immediate concern. You see, my dad is quite formidable when it comes to business matters. He won't take kindly to how Doris treated us. He's going to handle this situation. Feeling a mix of urgency and necessity, I decided to call my dad right then and put him on speakerphone so Russell could listen in. I explained everything that had happened at Applebee's. My dad was upset by the news. I knew Doris wasn't fond of you, but to kick you out of a restaurant? That's a new low. I'm sorry I hadn't reviewed the document sooner. I only recently received the title deeds for this property, and I haven't had the chance to evaluate all the managers yet, but rest assured, I'll take care of this immediately. He reassured us. Don't worry at all, give me 20 minutes, and I'll be there to sort this out personally. Hearing my dad's determined words brought me a sense of relief, though also a twinge of concern. I knew he could handle the situation, but I hoped it wouldn't escalate into something messy. My dad isn't someone to be trifled with, especially in business, and he firmly believes in treating customers with fairness and compassion. So Russell and I waited anxiously near the restaurant, trusting that my dad would resolve the issue appropriately. We weren't sure exactly what he planned to do, but we believed in his judgment. Moments later, my dad arrived, and we followed him back into Applebee's. He walked in with a confident stride, ready to take on whatever needed to be done. As he entered, he called out for Doris loud enough for everyone inside to hear. The tension in the restaurant was palpable as heads turned to watch the unfolding scene. Doris stepped forward, visibly annoyed by the interruption. She probably thought she could dismiss my father as easily as she had dismissed us. But my dad is not one to be brushed aside lightly. He raised an eyebrow at her and began with a tone of faux concern. Doris, my dear, it seems you haven't been keeping up with the latest developments. Did they forget to inform you about the new owner of the 2nd Green Avenue complex? Doris looked visibly shaken, clearly caught off guard by the unexpected news. What are you talking about? Who is it? She stammered, confusion lacing her voice. My dad couldn't suppress a small knowing smile. Well, that would be me. I'm the new owner, and I must say, in less than a week, I've already received troubling complaints about your management. Doris's complexion paled as the reality of her predicament sank in. I didn't know that, she muttered, flustered. Well, perhaps if you had checked your emails or paid closer attention to what's happening around you, you might have known, but it's too late for apologies now, my dad replied with a chuckle. It was satisfying to see Doris on the receiving end of the treatment she had so freely dished out to us. Russell, who had been quietly seething at my side, stepped forward and said firmly, you had no right to treat us, or anyone, the way you did, especially Janice. We've always known you harbored ill will, but as someone managing a public establishment, you should have been the first to understand that discrimination based on personal prejudices is unacceptable. You've clearly violated that principle, and I don't think you're fit to manage this place. Doris, now desperate, pleaded, wait, I'm sorry, I didn't realize. Even if you didn't know he was the owner, you should have treated all customers fairly without letting your personal biases interfere, I added firmly. Please, let's discuss this privately. Doris tried to salvage the situation. There's no need, my dad interjected, his voice loud enough for everyone to hear. I believe everyone here would be interested to know that the person managing Applebee's, who allowed her racism to affect her professional duties, is no longer part of the staff. The murmurs in the restaurant grew louder, fueled by the unfolding drama. Doris, utterly embarrassed, stood in silence as she faced the consequences of her actions. Russell and I watched, relieved that justice was finally being served. We couldn't help but feel a mix of relief and triumph as my dad decisively handled the situation, warning her that he would call security to escort her out if she didn't leave voluntarily. Embarrassed and on the brink of tears, Doris began her walk of shame out of the restaurant. As she exited, the mood in the establishment lifted instantly. People began to clap and cheer, celebrating her departure. A profound sense of relief washed over me. Russell and I rushed over to my dad and gave him a big hug, grateful for his decisive intervention. You're the best, Dad, I exclaimed with a smile, and he chuckled, giving us both a reassuring pat on the back. It was my pleasure, my dear. I couldn't stand by and watch you two suffer because of her, he replied, his warmth enveloping us. Dad excused himself to check on the kitchen staff and find the next in command to appoint as the acting manager amidst the upheaval. He returned shortly after, explaining that he had important business matters to finalize, including formally terminating Doris and organizing the paperwork for the new acting manager. Okay, my work here is done for now. You two enjoy your meal on the house, he said, signaling for us to take a seat and relax. As we settled down at a table, a whirlwind of emotions enveloped me. I was still processing the swift turn of events, amazed at how quickly everything had escalated. Yet above all, I felt incredibly grateful for my dad's support and the strength he provided us through this challenging time. It was comforting to know that, no matter what, we had someone on our side, ready to step in when needed.